True Sports episode 84 is on. I'm Taylor Phillips. He's Louis Tenor. Man, what a close nip and tuck finish between the Buckeyes of Ohio State and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. Man, Notre Dame made some mistakes. They came back from down 10-0, but uh, man, Ohio State still finds a way to stay undefeated. They Notre Dame almost put it away, but then their defense left wide receivers wide open.
Especially for that last play. I thought Notre Dame had the game, and Ohio State just pulled a sneak in.
Turn your mic volume up.
Okay. Yeah. Out of nowhere, Ohio State just sneaks it in. I wasn't too sure at first if that was a touchdown or not. They had to keep looking at the replay, but then looking at that it was legit. It didn't seem like it at first, but when we got closer view of the replay, it was a legit touchdown. Some may argue it, but that's how it came out. So it was kind of a strange way to end the game, but it was as I thought it was going to go because it was a close game. I thought it'd be a higher scoring game, but it was competitive like I thought it would be.
Yeah, either way, both teams really duked it out. Ohio State jumped out to a 10-0 lead. There was no score after one, and then it was 3-0. Just 3-0 at halftime.
Yeah. That was the surprising thing. That was turned out to be so low in the beginning. I was expecting more of an offensive impact.
But their defense, both defenses. I'm hearing echoes, but their defenses stepped up. Both defenses really stepped up.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that kind of a game, but that's what we got. Then again, every time I think it's going to be a high offensive scoring game, it turns out the opposite way. Well, so much for my prediction.
Well, one way or the other, it was close. It was close the entire time.
Yeah, I expected that.
Yeah. By the way, we got Washington leading California, 31-6 early in the second quarter. 10:08 to go in Washington. At Alaska Airlines Field. California has the ball. Man, Washington's already routing California through at least one quarter of play. That was almost picked and then almost caught.
Doesn't shock me.
Still incomplete. Powell in coverage. 10:02 left to play in the second quarter. Well, Michigan continues to be a second half team, just like they did against Bowling Green last week. That they were again today against Rutgers. They still beat the Scarlet Knights. The Wolverines did 31-6.
Sure did.
31-7. 31-7.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Bowling Green kicked 2 field goals. It was 31-6 against Bowling Green, and then 31-7 against Rutgers.
Yeah.
So just one point off, but really,
yeah,
Michigan's defense has been absolutely solid.
It certainly has. I thought when Rutgers took the opening lead, I thought, hey, maybe they can make a game of this after all. But knowing Michigan, especially at home, I wouldn't give Rutgers much of a chance. They got lucky. They got lucky in the first 5 minutes of the game, but after that, they just all went south. So another big loss for Rutgers. And of course, Rutgers is not really, of course, that great of a Big Ten team, as we all know.
Rutgers was 3-0 going into this.
Yeah, but now you're doing conference play, and this is where they're going to get whooped.
Yeah. Well, they still have a good head coach in Greg Schiano, but who knows? Yeah. But who knows where they're going to go from here on forward?
I'm afraid to find out.
Well, anyway. Yeah, Michigan State got absolutely tortured by Maryland, 31-9.
Yeah, what happened to this team? They used to be so good. I mean, they were,
Mel Tucker was fired.
rapid. Oh, well, there's your answer right there. Because they used to be so good. They were competitive against their state rival Michigan, but lately they have just, fallen off the face of the map.
Last year, Michigan beat Michigan State 29-7 in Ann Arbor at the
Yeah,
Big House.
I remember that.
Now this year, I predict Michigan's going to roll over Michigan State in East Lansing. No joke.
No joke is right. I don't see this being a competitive game at all.
Yeah, the Spartans don't even have a quarterback.
Well,
Not especially not Noah Kim, especially not even Kenny Hauser.
mm, if you don't have a quarterback, you're really sunk. So
There you
you
go.
better come up with a plan. You better come up with a plan, or else it's gonna be a long day, and it's gonna be a long day with that rivalry.
Long season.
Yeah.
Not just a long day, a long season. A
Well, I
long
mean when they
year.
play, I mean again when they play against Michigan itself, that's gonna be a long day. Not that it's bad enough
Oh,
already, but
right, right.
this will be well hell.
Yeah, this won't even be a game.
No. Yeah, I can just see it now.
Smiles on every
Mhm.
purchase.
72 to nothing.
Well, I won. What, 75 nothing? You said?
72 nothing.
Oh wow, I still would not go that far.
Okay.
Yeah, Michigan is number 2 going in
Yes.
last last the last I saw. Well, Michigan's number 2 going into East Lansing. Let me check the schedule for the Wolverines. Oh my goodness. Michigan stays undefeated anyway.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna go undefeated the entire regular season and then win yet
Yeah.
another Big Ten championship.
Yes.
Michigan is at Nebraska Saturday at 3:30 on Fox. Michigan and Michigan State is not until October 21st.
Ah. Little.
But still,
Yeah.
yeah, Michigan's at Nebraska and then Minnesota on October 7th. And then back home against Indiana on Saturday.
Should be fairly easy.
Yeah, Michigan
Yeah.
on the Michigan against Indiana on the 14th, and East Lansing on the 21st, and then a bye week, and then Michigan at home against Purdue, unranked Purdue, November 4th.
Yeah. I'm thinking the same thing you are. They're gonna go undefeated to the regular season.
Yep.
Yeah. This should be.
They also
a
got
cakewalk.
Penn State at Happy Valley Saturday at noon on Fox. Oh, 7th ranked Penn
Uh,
State. Oh God.
Maybe we'll rethink undefeated regular season.
Yeah, but Michigan's got Maryland after
Yeah.
that, and then the game, Michigan and Ohio State. It's in Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Ohio State
Yeah.
is still 6.
That's true.
Penn
State.
Penn State was knocking out Iowa the last I checked.
Oh, they murdered him. They murdered him.
Yep,
No contest.
no contest at all. So the NFL Week 3 is tomorrow. So
Yes.
let's include that in your true sports report. Go ahead.
Well, actually, it began on Thursday when the Giants were beaten up by the 49ers, and it was a disaster right there. But then again, I was not surprised at all. I'll get to the NFL a little bit. Right now, we'll do the baseball scores. As we're going to the bottom of the ninth now, Cardinals are up 2-1 over the Padres, but it's bases loaded with nobody out. Hensley is pitching and Bogarts is at bat. Stay tuned. Oh boy. Top of the ninth, Dodgers having an easy time over the Giants. Actually, it has now gone final. Dodgers over the Giants 7-0. But we don't have the Ferguson was pitching and Ramos was at bat, but we'll be updating that in a little bit. All the rest are final as the Angels over the Twins 1-0. Rosenberg got the win. Gray got the loss. And Estevez got the save. The Cubs over the Rockies 6-3. Aston got the win. Mears got the loss, and Cuss got the save. Phillies over the Mets 7-5. Wheeler got the win. Quintana got the loss, and Alvarado got the save. A's over the Tigers 4-1. Boyle got the win. Wentz got the loss, and May got the save. Oh boy.
Wentz is now 3-12 with a 6.45 ERA. Joey Wentz, he sucks.
Yes, you can say that again. Wow. In the battle of the Sox, it was white over red, 1-0. First, I prefer white. Bummer got the win, which is not really a bummer. When Oski got the loss, and Shaw got the save. His name is Bummer. Okay. Marlins over the Brewers 5-4. Nardi got the win. Pampas got the loss, and Scott got the save. Rays over the Blue Jays 7-6. Davinsky got the win. Romano got the loss. Orioles over the Guardians 2-1. Mina got the win. Quintal got the loss, and Perez got the save. That's going to be a battle between the Orioles and the Rays in the last week of the season. In a wild game here, the Pirates over the Reds 13-12. Hernandez got the win. Diaz got the loss. And Minsky got the save. In a real good old-fashioned pitcher's duel. What pitcher's duel? I was being sarcastic. Rangers over the Mariners 2-0. Montgomery got the win. Gilbert got the loss, and Chapman got the save. Royals over the Astros 3-2. Lyles got the win. France got the loss, and Clark got the save. And as we mentioned, the Dodgers over the Giants 7-0. Kershaw got the win, and Burbia got the loss. Just updating that. And the D-backs and Yankees are postponed. They'll make up the game on Monday. And the Braves and Nationals postponed. They'll make up their game tomorrow. Yet the Yankees and D-backs are going to make it up on Monday. Okay. A little strange, but all right. So we'll check the standings now, and it goes like this. Orioles 96-59, a game and a half ahead of the Rays at 95-61. Blue Jays 86-69, 10 back. Yankees 78-76, 17 and a half back, and the Red Sox at 20 back at 76-79 and have been eliminated from contention. The Twins wrapped up the division 82-73, 8.5 ahead of the Guardians at 74-82, but everybody else is eliminated anyway. Tigers 72-83, 10 back. The White Sox 59-96, 23 back, and the Royals 53-102, 29 back. In the West, okay, this is a battle here, guys. The Rangers are 86-68, a game and a half ahead of the Astros at 85-70. The Mariners are 2 back at 84-70. Angels have been eliminated at 70-85, and the A's, who have been eliminated since week 3 of the season, 48-107, 38 and a half back. My goodness. Ugh. To the National League, the Braves 99-55 have a commanding 13.5 game lead over the Phillies at 86-69. The Marlins are 19.5 back at 80-75. The Mets eliminated officially 71-84, 28.5 back, and the Nationals 68-87, 31.5 back. To the Central, the Brewers 88-67 have a 7-game lead over the Cubs at 81-74. The Reds 79-77, 9.5 back. The Pirates 74-81, 14 back. They should be eliminated soon. And the Cardinals 67-87, 20.5 back. To the West, Dodgers 94-58 have a 13.5 game lead over the D-backs at 81-73. The Giants 77-77, 17.5 back. The Padres 76-78, 18.5 back, and the Rockies 56-98, 38.5 back. All right, let's check tomorrow's schedule, and it goes like this. By the way, there have been rumors that the Yankees have been eliminated officially. Not yet. They're still hanging in there, but they're barely breathing. All right, tomorrow the matchups go this way. Starting at 1:10, the Blue Jays take on the Rays. Your 1:35 games are the D-backs taking on the Yankees, weather permitting. The Braves taking on the Nationals. The White Sox taking on the Red Sox. 1:40 games. The Orioles take on the Guardians. The Brewers take on the Marlins. The Pirates take on the Reds. 2:10. Angels take on the Twins. The Royals take on the Astros. 2:20. The Rockies take on the Cubs. 2:35. The Mariners take on the Rangers. 4:07. Your Tigers take on the A's. 4:10. The Cardinals take on the Padres. 6:05. The Mets take on the Phillies. That's a very strange time for a Sunday. 6:35. The Rays take on the Nationals for game 2, and the Giants take on the Dodgers at 7. That game is on ESPN. All right, now we'll get to the college football scores, and most of the games are wrapped up, but there are one or two that are still going on. So it goes this way. All right, 10:20 to go in the second quarter. Number 5 UCLA is up on ASU. Arizona State 14-10. Williams has 114 passing yards and 1 touchdown. Skatebo has 37 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. Rice has 57 receiving yards and a touchdown. 7:27 to go in the second quarter. Number 8 Washington is beating up on California 31-12. Finley has 138 passing yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Johnson has 31 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, 6 carries, and O'Donnell's 77 receiving yards. As I expected, Michigan rolling over Rutgers 31-7. Michigan is second ranked. McCarthy 214 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Kurum has 97 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns on 21 carries. Dramiri 85 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. This was a good one here. Number 4 Florida State over Clemson in overtime, 31-24. Travis had 289 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Maya 68 rushing yards on 10 carries, and Wilson 84 receiving yards. Number 16 Oklahoma over Cincinnati 20-6. Gabriel had 322 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Major had 63 rushing yards on 15 carries, and Anthony 117 receiving yards. What I thought was going to be a better game was a disaster, as Oregon, number 10, beat up number 19 Colorado 42-6. Nix had passed for 276 yards, had 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. Irving had 89 rushing yards on 10 carries, and Franklin had 128 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. This one, hold it. Excuse me for a second. I hate when this happens. Wait a minute. Oh, come on. Pardon me, folks.
Oh, yeah. Pop-ups.
Yeah, as usual.
The Pirates,
Okay.
the Padres just tied it up at 2 in the 9th.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, as I was saying before I was interrupted for some odd reason, Oregon is
Top of
over
the 10th
Colorado.
now.
Wow. Okay. Utah over UCLA 14-7. Not much of a scoring game, as I thought it was going to be. Moore 234 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Glover 88 rushing yards on 22 carries, and Ryan had 88 receiving yards. Alabama over Ole Miss 24-10. Draft had 244 passing yards, 1 interception. McCallahan had 105 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, and 17 carries, and Wade had 88 receiving yards. Number 18 Duke over UConn 41-7. Leonard had 248 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Rosa had 88 rushing yards on 14 carries, and Moore had 98 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. Then again, it was against UConn. Go figure. Please. Number 20 Miami over Temple 41-7. Warner had 240 passing yards, 2 interceptions, and 1 touchdown. Parrish had 139 rushing yards, 18 carries, and 2 touchdowns, and Anderson Jr. had 117 receiving yards. Number 23, Tennessee over USCA, 45-14. Milton III had 209 passing yards, 2 touchdowns. Sampson had 139 rushing yards on 11 carries and 2 touchdowns, and Cephas had 58 receiving yards and a touchdown. Good game here we had as LSU held up Arkansas 34-31. Daniels had 320 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Diggs had 97 rushing yards on 14 carries, and Thomas Jr. had 133 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns.
Close one.
Speaking of close ones, Washington State, number 21 over number 14, Oregon State, 38-35. Ward had an amazing day, 404 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Fenwick had 101 rushing yards on 11 carries and 3 touchdowns, and Williams had 174 receiving yards and a touchdown. Now that is a game. Number 25, Florida over Charlotte, 22-7. Mertz had 259 passing yards, a touchdown. Jones had 65 rushing yards on 20 carries and a touchdown. Pearsall had 104 receiving yards. Number 1, Georgia over UAB, 49-21. Beck had 338 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Edwards, 66 rushing yards on 12 carries and 2 touchdowns. And Bowers, 121 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. In another romp, Texas over Baylor, 38-6. Ewers had 293 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Brooks, 106 rushing yards on 18 carries and 2 touchdowns. And Sanders, 110 receiving yards. And the game we mentioned before, Ohio State eked out a win over Notre Dame, 17-14. McCord had 240 passing yards. Henderson had 104 rushing yards on 14 carries and 1 touchdown. Ubanka, 98 receiving yards. Close game, as expected. Penn State blanked
close
Iowa,
finish.
as I expected.
With 1 second left.
Yeah.
The ball. What I saw, the ball the ball just barely crossed the plane.
Yeah, I thought the Notre Dame had it. Penn State blanked Iowa 31-0. Penn State is number 7, Iowa's 24. Alter had 188 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. Allen had 72 rushing yards on 21 carries, and Lambert Smith, 88 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. And finally, in the top 25, number 17, North Carolina over Pitt, 41-24. May, 296 passing yards, 1 touchdown. Hammond Jr. had 14 carries, 83 yards, and 1 touchdown. And Jones had 117 receiving yards. All right, so, hey, does anybody want to get some exhibition hockey? I got a few scores here.
All right.
Yeah.
It's here.
Yes.
Hockey's here. Back.
Yes, it is. Interesting schedule because we had a split squad game that took place today. As in the first game, the Blues over the Coyotes 3-2, and the Coyotes over the Blues 5-1. And coming up in just a few minutes, the Coyotes will take on the Kings. Remember, guys, that's how it works in preseason. They do these split squad games. So if anybody thinks I'm crazy or thinking, hey, how are they playing 2 different teams? Well, now you know. So now on to the news items of the day. And the sale of the Ottawa Senators is now official, folks. The NHL on Thursday said the transfer of the club, led by Michael Andlauer, was approved unanimously by the league's board of governors, and said the transaction has been completed. The Senators said that Andlauer will assume control of team operations. The Andlauer Group reached an agreement to purchase the Senators for $1 billion. The Senators were up for sale in November following the death of owner Eugene Melnick, whose daughters are retaining 10% of the team. That kind of price, you better do good. All right. A Nevada grand jury has indicated a man on felony charges alleging that he threatened to carry out a mass shooting in June, Game 5 of the Stanley Cup Finals on the Vegas Strip. The 6-count indictment handed down this week in state court charges Matthew D. Sava of threatening an act of terrorism, burglary, and stalking. Police arrested DeSavo hours before Game 5 was set to begin at the T-Mobile Arena as the Knights went on to defeat the Panthers that night and win their first Stanley Cup. The incident does not detail whether DeSavo carried any weapons at the time of his arrest. Public defender Jessica Murphy, who defended DeSalvo in previous hearings, declined to comment on these hearings on the incident. And the Clarks County Public Defense Office said Thursday that the case had not been assigned to a lawyer who would comment on DeSavo's behalf. DeSavo was being held without bail at a county jail in downtown Vegas and has yet to enter a plea. His arraignment is due next week. Oh boy. He was trying to carry out a mass shooting that happened in Nashville 2 years before that, which was the deadliest mass shooting to date. Idiot. All right, well, the preseason got underway last night, or I should say early this morning, despite issues at the Melbourne Arena. Ahead of the annual global series between the Kings and the Coyotes, there were reports and photos on social media of the state of the ice surface, with puddles, runts, and uneven colorings of painted lines. Boy, this does sound ridiculous, but it's true. Yesterday, both teams were scheduled to have an open practice, and although the Kings held their practice, the Coyotes were told to cancel theirs. The NHL was asked for comment. It's early spring in Australia, and the game time temperature was 61 degrees. After the scorer's first period, the Coyotes and Kings scored 7 goals before the Coyotes scored an empty netter in the final minute of regulation. The second game was scheduled for now at the Rod Laver Arena. The arena holds about 15,000, and sellouts were expected for both games. The arena is most famous for holding one of the 4 major Grand Slam tournaments in tennis, the Australian Open, which is held in January, where it's summer down there, and we're freezing to death. Almost. All right. The Vegas Golden Knights went from winning a Stanley Cup this summer to now heading back to the ice to get ready for the season. A short off season is good to have, but it's still an issue. That's part of why some teams have trouble getting back-to-back championships, said Knights general manager Kelly McCrimmon said on Thursday, as the Knights begin training camp. Moving right along, there's a lot of energy and excitement building up right now. I always felt that if you play until the end and win, you don't mind the short summer. But if you make it and lose, the summer seems short. The Knights defeated the Florida Panthers in Game 5 to win the Stanley Cup and hopes to repeat as champions. The Tampa Bay Lightning repeated as champions just 2 years ago, and the Pens did the same thing back in 2017 and are the only teams to do this in the now salary cap era. The Knights opened camp with nearly the same roster from the team who won the Cup 3 months ago, with the exception of Bradley Smith, who was traded to Pittsburgh in free agency. Okay, we got trouble already. The Knights did not add any new players until they signed forward Max Comtos on September 12th. While Comtos, who played on the Ducks for parts of 5 seasons, was signed to training camp but was not guaranteed a roster spot. Most of the Knights' off-season attention was given to lock-up goaltender Aiden Hill and forward Ivan Barbashev. Okay. Moving along, Montreal defenseman Chris Weidman will be out for the foreseeable future due to a back injury. Weidman is entering his 7th season in the league after recording 6 assists last season in 46 games. In his first season in Montreal, he had 4 goals and 23 assists in 64 games. Weidman made his NHL debut in the 2015-2016 season with the Senators and had 20 goals and 58 assists in his career. Weidman has also spent time with the Oilers and Panthers as well as the Senators and Montreal. All right. San Jose Sharks captain Logan Courtier is week to week with a lower body injury that he suffered in off-season training, said the Sharks on Thursday. Well, Friday, actually. Courtier is expected to be the Sharks' second line center heading into his 15th season, and all with the Sharks. He had 700 career points, totaling 323 goals, 377 assists in 927 career games. He was selected first overall, ninth overall in the first round by the Sharks in the 2007 draft. Okay, moving on. Buck star Chris Middleton said he had heard comments from the Greek Freak for the past few weeks, but unlike the rest of the NBA universe, that was caught off guard by Giannis' open acknowledgement of the uncertainty of his future, Middleton said it was just an extension of things the Greek Freak has said. I think it's business as usual either way, Middleton said in a phone interview. It does not affect me personally. I don't think it affects the team. I think it's something that he says almost every year or every time contract talks come up. His comments have been the capper on a hectic summer for Middleton and the Bucks, who were the league's championship contenders over the past 5 years. But after a stunning first-round loss to the Heat, the Bucks wanted to fire head coach Mike Budenholzer, or as I sometimes say, Bulldozer, and hire former Raptors assistant Adrian Griffin to replace him and re-sign Middleton and Brook Lopez after both hit unrestricted free agency. All right. Colorado Avalanche captain Gabe Landeskog says he sees a much clearer path back to the ice, even if it's not expected to play for this season. That's how encouraged he is after being out 4.5 months removed from a cartilage replacement surgery in his right knee. Ugh. Head coach Jared Bendar is just as optimistic in his return, which is why they are not naming a new captain. The Avalanche will wait until Landeskog returns, and in the meantime, they will rely on leadership of Cale Maker, Nate McKinnon, and Mikko Rantanen. Landeskog missed all of last season as a result of the knee injury. He has not played since Game 6 of the 2022 Stanley Cup Finals, as when they won the Stanley Cup. Yeah. The forward has 242 goals and 323 assists in 730 regular season games. Landeskog has been the team captain for the past 11 seasons. The Calgary Flames defenseman Oliver Klingden will miss the start of training camp. The Flames announced back on Thursday. The Flames said the decision was made after medical and fitness testing and was called a private personal matter, and added there was no information provided. Klingden missed all of last season due to personal issues. President of Hockey Operations Don Maloney said back in May the Flames expected Klingden to return this season. So much for that. Yeah. Lightning defenseman Steven Stamkos says he's disappointed that he has not engaged in meaningful talks ahead of training camp with free agency looming this summer. To be honest, Stamkos said he was disappointed in the lack of talks. It was something that I wanted to get something done before training camp. There were not any conversations, Stamkos said back on Wednesday. I'm ready whenever. I guess there was something that I did not see coming. But it is what it is. Well, yeah. Stamkos is entering his 16th season in the league, and all with the Lightning. He was part of 2 Stanley Cup championship teams and had 84 points in 81 games last season. As he enters the final year of his 8-year, $68 million deal, Stamkos expressed a desire to extend his current deal and finish his career as a member of the Lightning. Okay. Now here's an interesting story. Body camera footage of Cavaliers executive Kobe Ahmed undergoing field sobriety test showed him being told by officers that he nearly caused an accident last week before his arrest and was charged with driving while impaired. Back on the 20th, the Cavaliers issued a statement about their new president of basketball operations, who was arrested last Friday near downtown Cleveland. Albin was first stopped by Ohio's highway patrol officers for a traffic violation before refusing a breathalyzer test. Okay, that's a big one right there. And then was taken into custody. The Cavaliers released a brief statement a day after the arrest. It followed up with more comments a day after the video was emerged on social media. Albin pleaded not guilty through his attorney in court. It is not known if Albin received discipline by the Cavaliers. Oh, wow. Nice going, stupid. Brad Marchand will take over as captain of the Boston Bruins from Patrice Bergeron. The Bruins announced on Wednesday that Marchand was named the 27th captain in Bruins franchise history. Team CEO Charlie Jacobs said he was extremely proud of the player Brad has become, he said in a statement. Brad has been a Bruin for 15 years and has the opportunity to learn from such Boston greats as Zdeno Chara and Bergeron. He is ready for the opportunity, and our whole team, from its competitive nature and tenacity. I am confident that he will represent our organization with grit and heart. Well, if you don't have that, you don't got nothing. Marchand finished second on the Bruins in scoring last season with 67 points in 73 games. An alternate captain has been used for the last 5 seasons. Marchand was long believed to be captain, or at least runner-up, to be named as next team captain. The Bruins have been in search for the next team captain since Bergeron retired at the end of last season after they collapsed in the first round of the playoffs. And I do mean a collapse. Bergeron, who played his entire career with the Bruins, was an alternate captain for over a decade until he was named official team captain in the 2021-2022 season. The decision to name Bergeron team captain came after Zdeno Chara, who helped guide the Bruins to the 2011 title, left the Bruins in the 2019-2020 season. Whereas Bobby Orr when you needed him. You get the point. All right. And without Jonathan Toews, the Chicago Blackhawks are withholding their title of team captain for the upcoming season. General Manager Kyle Davidson said back on Tuesday that a series of alternate captains will be in place of the leadership as the younger roster becomes more apparent. The only plan right now is to sort out the year. Davidson said, "We came out of a successful tenure with Toews. That's a little bit of respect for Jonathan not to fill the spot right away." Toews has been team captain since 2008. This is the first season without a team captain since the 27-28 season. Toews, an unrestricted free agent, had 31 points in 53 games last season with the Blackhawks. All right, so now we'll turn on to other news of the past few days. Okay. The Red Sox have reinstated closer Kenley Jansen from the COVID list just today. Jansen has not pitched since September 12th. He is 3-6 this season, but has 29 saves in 51 games. The right-hander leads all active pitchers in saves with 420 over 14 seasons between the Dodgers, Braves, and the Red Sox. The Red Sox optioned for right-hander Zach Weiss to AAA Worcester in a corresponding move. Nick Chubb, who suffered a knee injury, is not considered to be career-ending, with tests revealing that he only tore his MCL according to sources. Yeah, you think so? I don't know about that. Sources did say that while Chubb's ACL was stretched, doctors did not believe that it was a torn ACL. Surgery is scheduled for next week, and sources hope that there is no further damage. The recovery timeline is expected to take 6 to 8 months. Uh-huh. Moving along, Chubb was injured on his left knee after being hit on a 5-yard gain in the second quarter in Monday's loss to the Steelers. The loss of Chubb for the rest of the season is a big loss for the Browns, which spent the past week looking for his replacements. The Browns were discussing trading for running back Cam Akers before being traded to the Rams to the Vikings. The Browns are also considered signing Zovan Knight off the practice squad, but one decision was made to bring back former running back Kareem Hunt on a 1-year deal worth $4 million. Mm-hmm. All right. Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow is questionable for Monday night against the Rams. Coach Zach Taylor says it will come down to a game-time decision as he continues to recover from a calf injury that limited him in practice this week. We will see what happens right now, but as of right now, he is listed as day-to-day. Burrow threw to his receivers in a red zone drill during yesterday's practice that was open to the media. Burrow, who wore a compression sleeve on his right leg, practiced in some captivity for the second straight day. He was limited in practice on Friday after missing the practice entirely on Thursday. If Burrow is unable to go, then they will turn to Jake Browning, who could make his first career start. Browning has been in the Bengals practice squad since 2021 and won the backup role in training camp. Browning has played at Washington from 2015 to 2018. He threw one pass in the NFL, which was an incompletion in Week 1 in their loss to the Browns. Okay. An announcement that should not be a surprise. The Angels' third baseman Anthony Rendon is out for the season. In addition, the Angels activate right-hander Jamie Barria from the injured list and opted for lefty Jonathan Diaz to AAA Salt Lake. The leg injury limited Rendon's availability to conduct on-the-field workouts, but the Angels were numb until manager Phil Nevin confirmed yesterday, that Rendon is done for the year. Rendon was injured when a foul ball hit his lower left leg in a game against the Padres. The original diagnosis was a contusion, with later reports coming from one of the 5 doctors who examined Rendon and diagnosed a fractured tibia. In only 43 games this season, Rendon has only 2 home runs and 22 RBIs. He signed a 7-year, $245 million deal with the Angels prior to the 2020 season, though his time in the AL has been injury hit. The former star for the Nationals had his best season in 2021 with 58 home runs. Barria last pitched for the Angels on September the 6th. This season, he's 2-6 with an ERA of 5.67 in 32 games with 6 starts. Diaz is even worse, and I mean he's really even worse. A 10.29 ERA with 4 appearances with 1 start. Now that is sad and pathetic. Yuck. The Brewers clinched the NL Central Division on Friday night as they beat up the Marlins 16-1. With the game out of reach, Brewers manager Greg Counsell turned to first baseman Rowdy Tellez to finish up the victory and enter the postseason for the 5th time in the last 6 years. Cy Young candidate said Tellez after pitching a scoreless ninth, he gave up 1 hit and 1 walk and struck out Jesus Sanchez, who swung on a 63-mile-an-hour fastball and, of course, missed. Tellez said his appearance on the mound came after a brief conversation with Counsell, who asked in the 7th inning, "Well, we know he can hit, but can he pitch as well?" And Tellez replied, "Sure, no sweat." Despite having to borrow a glove from Wade Miley, Tellez had no nerves at all, unless you count nerves of steel, of course, and drew an inspiration from a Hall of Fame pitcher. "Sit on the corners and watch Greg Maddox work," he told catcher Victor Caranetti. The win went to Corbin Burns, who won the 2021 NL Cy Young Award, who threw 5 scoreless innings and backed by a 12-run second inning, leaving the Marlins up the creek without a paddle, as I look at it. The Brewers sent 15 batters to the plate in the second inning. That's their second largest in team history, their second largest win. The Brewers scored 13 runs in the fifth and 20-7 victory over the Angels in July of 1990. That goes back a long way. MLB will be using neutral clock operators for the upcoming postseason. MLB evaluated each team's clock operations in the regular season and said yesterday and will select a dozen of their best performers for postseason games. The postseason starts on October 3rd, now 10 days away. A clock operator cannot operate a postseason game involving the team, the operator times during the regular season. In addition, each postseason series will use the same clock operator for all games used in that series. The pitch clock seems to have worked in shortening games this season, as the average time for a 9-inning game was just 2 hours and 40 minutes compared to 3 hours and 4 minutes last season. This was the fastest time in the major leagues in almost 40 years. Back in the good old days. The Twins clinched the AL Central with an 8-6 win over the Angels on Friday night. It was the third AL Central title in the last 5 years. They also won the division in the 2019 and 2020 seasons. Overall, the Twins have won 9 Central titles and 13 division titles. They won 4 AL West titles before the league decided to use the three divisional system. Alex Kilroff homered and drove in 3 runs as the Twins held off the Angels for the win. We still have a lot of work to do, said manager Rocco Maldini, but tonight we had fun. Tomorrow is back to work for us. Pablo Lopez, at 11-8, pitched 6 innings, giving up 3 runs on 5 hits and struck out 7. John Duran gave up a run in the ninth, but got the last out to preserve the win and got his 27th save of the year. After the Twins gave up a 3-0 lead, Kilroff's 10th run of the year snapped a 3-3 tie in the 6th, and the Twins won for the 6th time in 8 games. Kilroff became the Twins' 12th player to hit double-digit home runs in a season. That sets a franchise record. However, the postseason has not been kind to the Twins at all, as they have lost 18 straight postseason series, mostly due to my Yankees, thank you very much, and have not won a postseason series since 2004. Now, is that a drought or what? Man, that is ugly. Marlins ace pitcher Sandy Alcantara felt forearm tightness in his rehab start against Jacksonville on Thursday. The Marlins made the announcement on Friday night. The defending NL Cy Young winner had cruised to the start and pitched 4 scoreless innings before the tightness started to act up. Alcantara traveled back to Miami to be evaluated. He first felt discomfort on September 3rd in a game against the Nationals. The right-hander was working his way back in hopes of rejoining the Marlins as they were in a tight race for the NL wild card. Entering Friday night, they were a game and a half behind the Cubs, and that's turned out to be a big race in the NL Central. Two-time MVP Juan Gonzalez received his Texas Rangers Hall of Fame jacket on Friday night in a pregame ceremony, 8 years after his introduction and 20 years after he last pitched for the team. One of the game's best sluggers, Gonzalez still leads the Rangers with 372 home runs, 1,180 RBIs, and 713 extra base hits. He played for the Rangers from 1989 to 1999, during a stretch where they won their first of 3 AL West titles, and the outfielder / DH always returned to the Rangers in the 2002 and 2003 seasons. Gonzalez also threw out the first pitch. It was believed to be his first appearance at a Rangers game since 2004, when he was playing for the Royals. During his first MVP season in 1996, when the Rangers won their first division title, Gonzalez batted .314 with 47 home runs and 144 RBIs. He was MVP again in the 1998 season, when he batted .318 at 45 home runs and 157 RBIs in the Rangers' second playoff season. Overall, Gonzalez has 457 home runs, 1,273 RBIs in 1,689 career games, and batted .295. The span runs from when he made his debut with the Rangers at just age 19 to one game with the Indians in 2005. Back then they were called the Indians, not the Guardians. He also played one season for the Tigers in 2000 after being traded a 9-player deal, then went to the Indians in 2001 where he had 140 RBIs in 140 games. Wow. Before re-signing with the Rangers. He now coaches for the Puerto Rican national team and was an assistant hitting coach in the WBC Classic that was held this past spring. Brandon Lowe will miss 4 to 6 weeks with a right patella fracture, announced by manager Kevin Cash. Lowe suffered the injury when he hit a hard foul ball off his right knee in Thursday's win over the Angels. Lowe was out of Friday night's lineup as they lost to the Blue Jays. The Rays also might be without infielder Randy Arozarena, who was removed from the game in the fourth inning with groin soreness in the fourth inning, and he is listed as day-to-day. To make matters even worse, the Rays center Jose Siri missed his 10th straight game with a broken right hand, and Luke Riley, another outfielder, was placed on the 10-day injured list with a cervical strain. Whew. The Rays already have clinched a playoff berth and are in a battle with the Orioles for the top spot in the AL East. The first wildcard game was scheduled for October 3rd, and the AL Division Series is set for October 7th. But with the Rays getting all these injuries, this might be a problem. Heading into the playoffs, you don't want your best players injured. Brave star Ronald Acuna Jr. has become the 5th player in MLB history to have 40 home runs and 40 stolen bases in a season, entering an exclusive club when he led off Friday night's game, with a home run against the Nationals. Acuna sent a 3-2 slider from Nationals lefty Patrick Corbin over the left field fence. He joins Alfonso Soriano, A-Rod, Barry Bonds, and Jose Canseco. Acuna is one of the best leading contenders for NL MVP honors. Entered the game with 68 stolen bases and tops the majors. He is the only player to have a 40-60 season, and in fact, no one has even ever had a 40-50 season. So he's breaking records left and right here, folks. Panthers quarterback Bryce Young will at least miss 1 to 2 weeks with a sprained ankle after Monday's loss to the Saints. Head coach Frank Reich made the announcement on Friday. Despite the Panthers 0-2 starting under Young, Reich said the former star from Alabama will return when he is healthy, regardless of how well Andy Dalton plays. Oh boy. Reich did not rule out against next week's game against the Vikings. Young had been already cleared to travel to Seattle. Reich said that Young has done well all week. I am certain that he's on the right path. Whenever he is ready to play, he'll be our go-to guy. But Reich has confidence calling him one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Dalton is playing at a high level, Reich said. The way he is throwing the ball, the way he works through the progressions, and the way he's playing the game since day one. When he walked through the door, and I said he is worthy of being a starter. Dalton says he looks forward to the opportunity to start understanding his role is to help Young shape up his career. Dalton is 1-1 against the Seahawks in his only 2 starts, coming from the Bengals in 2011 and 2019. Yeah, but Dalton doesn't have it anymore. Come on. The Colts will be without quarterback Anthony Richardson after sustaining a concussion in Week 2. That's set by head coach Shane Stenson. Backup quarterback Gardner Minshew will be up for the start for tomorrow's game against the Ravens, and Sam Ehlinger will serve as the backup. Richardson did not practice this week after he reported concussion symptoms in the second quarter in last Sunday's win over the Texans. It is believed that Richardson sustained the injury in the first quarter on a 15-yard touchdown run in the first quarter, where he hit his head after being tackled as he crossed the goal line. Oh boy. The source told ESPN that Richardson is hopeful to play in Week 4 against the Rams, assuming he passes concussion protocol. But Richardson and the Colts have been cautious about his return. Richardson, who was 4th in this year's draft, already has had a few health issues, bruising his left knee in the opening game versus the Jaguars, and missed the last few plays of the game. Minshew started 2 games for the Eagles last season when Stenson was the Eagles' offensive coordinator. The Eagles were 0-2 in those games as Minshew completed 58% of his attempts, throwing for 629 yards on 42 of 72 yards passing, with 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. The Colts also will be without Ryan Kelly, who sustained a concussion against the Texans as well. The Colts will likely turn to Wesley French, who took over for Kelly against the Texans. Richardson has completed 63.8% of his passes for 279 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception, and he also has 3 rushing touchdowns. Wow. All right. New England Patriots cornerback Marcus Jones has been placed on the injured reserve list. Jones injured his shoulder in last Sunday's win over the Dolphins in an attempt to tackle receiver Jalen Whittle in the second quarter. Jones threw his labrum, according to a source, with a timetable yet to be determined for his return, said Coach Bill Belichick. Players ending up on the injured list must sit out 4 games, but Belichick made it sound like it can go longer than that. After Jones' injury was a season ending, Belichick said, "Today he's on the injured reserve list. He'll be out for a while, but I won't say he's out for the season." Last season, in his first year, Jones finished with a 12.5 punt yard return average and was second in total yards with 1,007. He was 7th in kickoff return average with 23.9 yards. On defense, he played 33% of the snaps as a reserve and totaled 35 tackles and 2 interceptions. He contributed on offense
Hello
as well.
to the sports show.
Yes. He contributed on offense as well, playing in 18 snaps, totaling 4 catches for 78 yards and 1 touchdown. In the absence of Jones, the Patriots returned to rookie Demario Pop Douglas, a 6th-round pick out of Liberty, as the primary punt returner. Ty Montgomery was their primary kickoff returner this season. Blue Jay slugger Vladimir Guerrero received good news on Friday when an MRI on his right knee showed inflammation and no structural damage. Guerrero was held out of the lineup for the second straight day as the Blue Jays completed a 3-game series against the Yankees and was listed as day-to-day. He was a late scratch Wednesday and underwent an MRI during their 6-1 win on Wednesday night. "I was worried, then I found out the results and was a bit relieved," said Guerrero through an interpreter. "Of course, I felt a bit sad that I was not in the lineup, and I just tried to do my best." Guerrero's sore right knee began to act up 2 hours before Wednesday's game and was bothering him a few days prior to that, but grinded through it, said manager John Schneider. His dad was a great player, too. The San Francisco Giants placed shortstop Brandon Crawford on the 10-day injured list ahead of a 4-game series against the Dodgers, which has already started. Crawford suffered a strained right hamstring injury in Wednesday's loss to the D-backs. He will receive treatment throughout the weekend and be reevaluated again at some point next week. If Crawford is unable to return before the October 1st season finale and the Giants don't make the postseason, his 13-year run with the team could be history. At the time of this report, the Giants were 3 games out of the final wildcard spot in the NL West, and 6 of the last 9 are against the Dodgers. Ugh. Crawford has only 7 home runs and 30 RBIs in 93 games, while playing in the final season of a 2-year, $32 million extension that he signed in August of 2021. Crawford, who has 2 World Series titles and 4-time Gold Glove winner, is a career .250 hitter with 146 home runs and 744 RBIs in 1,654 games since making his debut with the Giants back in 2011. The Giants did call up right-hander Christian Beck, infielder Marco Luciano, and outfielder Tyler Fitzgerald from AAA Sacramento. Right-hander Sean Haley was opted to Sacramento after recording 4 outs in Wednesday's game, while infielder Paul DeJong was placed on unconditional release waivers. All right. Giants running back Saquon Barkley revealed that he did suffer a high ankle sprain on Friday. Barkley, who revealed the sprain in an interview with Amazon, said was injured in last Sunday's win over the Cardinals. At first, it thought just to be an ordinary sprain, but Barkley clarified before the loss to the 49ers on Thursday that it indeed was a high ankle sprain, while adding it was not as severe as it could have been. Sources told ESPN that Barkley is expected to miss at least 3 weeks, and my brother-in-law and my nephew are not happy. Not playing last night was more of like a pain management issue. Head coach Brian Daboll said earlier in the week that Barkley has made progress and is a fast healer. Barkley told Amazon that he will benefit from the 11 days between Thursday night's game against the 49ers and the October 2nd game against the Seahawks. Barkley is a two-time Pro Bowler. He had 29 carries, 114 yards, and 1 touchdown in the first 2 games he's played this season. Yeah. Okay. The Panthers are not expecting Bryce Young will be out as he misses second straight practice on Wednesday with an ankle injury. Andy Dalton took over the first team reps on both days. Yeah, and Dalton's going to play again. Okay. Dallas Cowboys quarterback Trevor Diggs suffered a season-ending torn ACL in his left knee during practice earlier this week. Multiple sources told ESPN. That was on Thursday, actually. Diggs suffered the injury in a one-on-one period of practice and was spotted inside the team's facility on crutches before receiving an MRI that revealed the tear, according to the sources. This is a massive loss for the Cowboys defense, which is ranked number 1 in yards allowed and in points per game through the first 2 weeks of the season. Not good, although somebody says, oh, we're good. Yeah, sure you are. Since entering the league in 2020, Diggs has 18 receptions, tied with J.C. Jackson of the Chargers. Diggs signed a 5-year extension worth $97 million with the Cowboys during camp that included a signing bonus of $21 million and a guarantee of $43 million. After missing 4 games due to a foot injury in 2020, Diggs has only missed 1 game in each of the last 2 seasons. All right. With Diggs out, the Cowboys can move Ron Bland to the outside cornerback position. Stephen Gilmore was acquired in offseason trade with the Colts. Jordan Lewis can return to his role in the slot. Last week, Lewis returned to action for the first time since October when he suffered a foot injury. Ugh. Not good. All right. Shohei Ohtani's elbow surgery went well on Thursday, said manager Phil Nevin. The Angels' two-way star is expected to be hitting again next season and back to pitching again, but not until 2025. So I have to wait on that. And Nevin said that Ohtani is in good spirits. He knows that everything went well with the surgery and is now in recovery mode. Ohtani tore his UCL in his right elbow on August 23rd, shutting down his pitching for the year. He batted until September 3rd this year when he was shut down with an oblique strain. The Dodgers head physician, Dr. Neil Alterich, operated on Ohtani's shoulder at Cedars Institute in Los Angeles. He said in a statement that both sides decided to remove the healthy ligament in place. Ugh. Ohtani finished the season with 44 home runs, 96 RBIs, 8 triples, and 20 stolen bases. As a pitcher, he finished with a record of 10-5 with a 3.14 ERA in 23 starts, striking out 167 batters and walking 55 in 132 innings. The Rays are making postseason plans, even without shortstop Wander Franco on the roster. Franco was placed on leave by MLB last month, while authorities in the Dominican Republic investigates at the All-Star for his alleged relationship with minors. Franco was placed on leave by MLB last month, Um, while at, when asked before, before the game against the Angels, if the Rays had no plan without Franco for the postseason, Rays manager Kevin Cash said, "Yeah, what you what you expecting? Franco will still be paid and receive service time while being on leave as part of an agreement with the Players Association. That did not set a timetable for the decision on whether he will face discipline by MLB. Franco was placed on restrictive list for a week on August 14th, while the MLB began investigating following a social media report that suggested he was in a relationship with a minor. The Associated Press had not been able to verify those reports. Mm-hmm. The league could wait Dominican Republic until the Dominican Republic concludes the investigation before deciding if Franco will face any type of discipline. MLB and the Players Union agreed to the joint domestic violence policy adopted in 2015. Franco has salaries of $2 million for the next 2 seasons as part of his 11-year, $282 million deal. In 3 seasons in the majors, Franco has hit 281 with 17 home runs and 30 stolen bases, 58 RBIs in 112 games. Yeah, big trouble. And Yankee rookie center fielder Jason Dominguez underwent Tommy John surgery on his right elbow on Thursday. Rangers top physician Dr. Keith Benson performed the procedure in Arlington, Texas. That included internal bracing, and according to the Yankees, don't expect him back too soon, as recovery time takes about 9 to 10 months. He signed a $5.1 million bonus. The switch hitter made his big league debut on September 1st and was off to a hot start, batting .258 with 4 home runs and 7 RBIs in his first 8 games. Yeah, the rise and fall of a rookie. Wow. Bears defensive coordinator Alan Williams has resigned from position. The announcement came on Thursday. Williams says he's taking a step back to take care of his mental health and family. He says, "I thank the opportunity to work with the Bears," Williams said in a statement. Williams said he values the NFL shield and all it stands for after taking time to address my health issue, and I will return later. Williams stepped away from the Bears last week and said it was a personal issue. Both the Bears and Williams said in a report, lawyers did a report of the Chicago, the police activity at a team facility was not accurate. Williams felt it was time to address his mental health as well as his personal issues, said by Sports Authority attorney Andrew Stroth. Williams was hired in February 2022, shortly after Matt Eberflus, who got called to the head coaching job. Williams spent 4 seasons as the safety coach of the Colts, while Eberflus was the team's defensive coordinator. It was his second stint with the Colts after being the defensive back coach for 10 seasons from 2002 to 2011. Williams was the Vikings defensive coordinator in 2012 and 13 seasons. He has more than 3 decades of coaching experience. Wow. All right, I'll just check a few quick of the scores here as we'll wrap it up. As we check a few of the late games that are going on. Boy, Saturday is always late in the college football world, isn't it, folks? All right, so with 14:49 in the third quarter, USC is leading Arizona State 21-13. Williams has 144 passing yards and a touchdown. Lloyd, 62 rushing yards on 6 carries, and Rice has 57 receiving yards and a touchdown. Washington is destroying California right now. 11:20 to go in the third quarter, 51-12. Ugh. Pence, yeah. Parallel Jr. has 253 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. Johnson has 60 rushing yards on 9 carries and a touchdown. And Odozie has 128 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. Just embarrassing, if you ask me. We'll check baseball for a second. We're still waiting for, I think, one game to end. I think. And, oh, there we go. Okay, so Angels over the Twins, 1-0. Rondenberg got the win. Gray got the loss. Estevez got the save. I think we got everything. Oh yeah, now we have everything. Okay, so that's gonna wrap it up. I'll just turn it back over to you.
All right, so I had to delete my Twitter feed of the episode because some guy named Mike Reed was harassing us earlier tonight.
Oh, great.
And so I still had the Facebook. I had the show going on Facebook, still.
Okay.
On Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitch, still going on, but just not on Twitter.
All right.
Because of that guy. But thank you to the sports show on YouTube for supporting our national sports show here, True Sports, especially episode 84, which is now in the can. We'll be back tomorrow night at 11:30 p.m. for True Sports episode 85, recapping Sunday's NFL Week 3 games. So until then, for Louis Tenor, I'm Taylor Phillips. Ta-ta, everyone.
Good night. Let me